From the Black Swan Media Studios, deep inside a secret underground bunker, we're speaking to freedom-loving patriots from all around the country and the world. Welcome to the Resistance. This is John Crump, live.
And we are back in the home studio. It feels good to be home. I missed you all. I know we did the show from the other studio, but I still miss you all. My name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist and a podcaster. Today we are brought to you by Tusk. Tusk is a cryptocurrency focused on the firearms market.
Proudly sponsored by TUSC, the only cryptocurrency designed with the firearms market in mind, with 3-second processing times. It's the fastest cryptocurrency on the planet. With lower transaction fees than traditional credit cards. It's perfect for your e-commerce needs. For gun guys, by gun guys. Visit TUSC.network for more information and join the digital revolution.
And not only are we sponsored, wow, my camera looks really, really off. Not only sponsored by Tusk, we are also sponsored by Black Swan Tactical.
Black Swan Tactical, your number one source for 2A streetwear. With shirts, mugs, hats, patches, flags, and more. There's always something to help you rep the 2A community. All proceeds go back into our projects. Viewers and listeners can take an additional 10% off with code CRUMPY. Unapologetically pro-gun, pro-liberty, and pro-freedom gear for the front lines of the culture war.
We have several people. My camera's so effed up right now. We have several people joining us. Flying Rich is one. Shane Gallery, New England, and Dissident Cigars. Before we get started, I just want to say that Dark is alive, contrary to rumors
that I've started.
Rich was going to start a rumor that he was dead. He is alive. He was just he's getting better. I talked to him.
He said no go on the dead and no go on the gender reassignment rumor I was trying to start. So I got nothing.
Yeah, there you go. You are weird. We are joined by Dissident Cigars today, who is our guest, and they are smoking stogies. We have Joe on and Rich on, who both smoke cigars. I do not smoke cigars. So I'm sure they will be able to do more than I will on this episode.
Well, if I was smarter, I would have done this outside, so I could have smoked.
Speaking of Dark, he is actually in the chat.
What up,
Dark?
Dark?
There he is.
Oh, okay,
he'll be back. He has some exciting guests coming up. He shared some with me. Some of those people that will be on soon, and he'll be back soon once he gets over the COVID. I also see Nick Torres out there. Nick Torres is a good friend of mine and also a cigar aficionado. All right. So, you guys, tell us who the hell you are.
We're really good.
Tell us. You want to tell them who we are, what we're about?
Go ahead. You're
cool. All right. Well, I guess
you're great at intros.
Well, I'm Joshua Coburn. This is my wife, Cinn Coburn. We are Dissident Cigars. We took over the company just before the first of the year, and it's a company that's been around for a while, but really hasn't been kind of focused on the way it needed to be. And we love the cigars. We love everything under the Oveja Negra brand, which is kind of where art and cigars meet. So that fits us to a T. And of course, Dissident couldn't be more lifestyle branding for us anyway. So that's kind of who we are and what we're about. Dissident Cigars is here to kind of push the industry around a little bit and kind of get out of the box a little more than what an old stuffy industry tends to be okay with, which, you know, I've been doing in the firearms industry for years, and now it's time to take it outside of that box and move this way. But it'll primarily be focused around her. She will be on the road and doing all the meet and greets and doing most of the media. But for you guys, I showed up.
Yeah, you guys have a treat tonight because it's usually just me doing these as far as Dissident. But you guys get Josh tonight too. So
Cool. Yeah, and actually, I know Josh. I've met Josh a couple of times, and Joe, I guess you've met Josh a couple of times also, right? No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
So
Not
we
yet.
we
Not
know
yet.
Josh from the Bureau of Propaganda,
Represent.
and you're still doing the BOP, right?
Absolutely. I handle all of that stuff on the back end and kind of keep quiet. I'll be at some events this year, but not as fun. And Dissident, I handle all the back end of that and kind of keep quiet. And she'll be doing all those events. So that's
Cool.
exciting to me.
So there's like 6 stories here that I think are real interesting. I'm not sure what we're going to cover. I mean, we brought you on for Dissident, but I just want to.
Sure.
Josh has a great origin story. The Josh Cinn is another interesting origin story. You got the moving to Nicaragua, which I've been trying to get you on since you moved. And I get this cryptic message from Josh, I don't know how long ago, I guess over a year ago. It's like, would you be able to fly me and my dog to Nicaragua? I'm like, yeah, we need to talk.
Yikes.
That sounds like some Pablo Escobar shit there.
Hey, look.
And so now the whole cigar thing popped up, and I was able to get you on the show. So I'm super excited. And, you know, it's your hour to talk about what you want. We might have to have you back on.
Yeah. So you moved to Nicaragua?
Yeah, we did. We are full time here in Nicaragua. It's been amazing. It's an absolute paradise.
So I got like the elevator pitch on this. Josh and Cinn, you were together like a year before you moved to Nicaragua?
no, more than that. It was a
More
few
than that?
years. But
Oh, a
yeah.
few years?
But I mean, within that, like we kind of didn't hold back with anything. So we were just like, go, go, go with all these, different things. In fact, when we got married was just out of nowhere. It was while we were in Colorado for we were blending a whiskey. We just decided that morning before our meeting that we were going to get married. So like everything's like fly by the seat.
What the hell?
Just like live life. So
Hey, what are you doing this afternoon? I don't know. Want to get married? Sure.
yeah, like the lady behind the counter, she was eating pancakes and everything at the clerk's office.
Yeah, it was like 8 a.m. We got married. We went to the diner. Then we did some test blends for a whiskey we were working on at the time, which didn't see the fruit of our labor at that time, but it may show its face as part of Dissident sooner than later. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, exciting thing. So sort of on a whim, we got married. We were discussing it oddly over cigars on a balcony, and it was kind of like marriage chicken. The woman's like, well, we can just do it now. You don't have to take the paper with you. And I was like, okay. So I signed it, pushed it over to her, and she was kind of like, oh, I see how this is.
But he crossed his arms too. Like it just kind of like sat there like, okay. Uh-huh.
So instead of an engagement ring, he just handed you the paper and said, sign it.
Oh yeah. There
Pretty much.
was no engagement ring. No,
Yeah,
not at all.
none of that silly stuff.
There was engagement cigars for I
You're
don't know,
lucky.
8 hours.
He's like,
Right.
let's get married and move to Central America.
Yeah.
Now, that you guys lucked out on that one.
Yeah. Why Central America?
Cigar capital of the world. We came out here because of cigars. Just as a visit, went to a factory, and ended up falling in love with Nicaragua, especially down in the area that we're at. And we were originally going to take the kids to vacation here, and then COVID hit, and so that kind of like messed everything up. And the kids still really wanted to see Nicaragua, and they were just like, "Well, why don't we just move there?" And we were like, "Okay." So that's how it happened, and we moved down here. It was going to be like once the kids graduated, but because they were all for it, we just did that.
Now,
We did.
You kind of shortcutted that story a little. You sold everything, and basically, if it didn't fit in the suitcase, you didn't bring it, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
We each had one big suitcase and one carry-on or backpack, and that was it. I mean, and when we decided to move, I mean, it was only, gosh, a month. We gave ourselves a month, maybe.
Yeah, 30 days was basically it. Once we kind of knew that everything was in motion the way it needed to be in motion.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we just had to do some certain things. We had to sell both our cars. We had to sell all our stuff. Like, we don't have a storage unit back home. We have a couple of totes at my dad's. Like, that gives you an idea. And the kids, kudos to them, because I mean, they're typical American kids, and they were willing to sell all their stuff down to a suitcase as well. And they did it. Complaints, nothing. And here we are. The dog story, going back to the Rich, we really didn't want to have to put Jake, our huge Doberman, underneath the plane as cargo. So the goal was to get him on the plane as an emotional support dog. Well, which he was, but the problem is that they eliminated that like
just prior to us.
Yeah, just prior to us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he had to be a service dog, which is fine. Obviously, you can train a dog to do that with time and money. But we didn't really have the time. So I'm like, how can I get down here without investing that time? All the while I'm contacting guys like you and getting answers and stuff while training Jake to be a service dog. And we trained him up in enough time and got him ready to go. And he ended up flying with me on a commercial as a service dog. So.
Oh, cool. You had to buy a ticket for him, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, we didn't have to buy a ticket.
I thought you said a one-way ticket.
But yeah, he came down and just sat at my feet and was freaking awesome.
Really?
Was taking pictures of him and stuff anyway, because he's such a huge dog on a tiny plane.
Yeah, he did amazing.
Oh, excellent. So, it's kind of like the horrible movie was downsizing. My impression, tell me if I'm wrong, is like if you sell all your crap and move to Nicaragua, you can live like a king.
I mean, it depends on where in Nicaragua. We live in a more expensive area. Technically, our town, it used to be a tourist town, so prices are a little bit higher here, especially now because actually a lot of people have moved here from Australia and Canada and all that because of all the COVID stuff. So, but I mean, if you weren't going to be in a town like this, or not in a town that is oceanfront, I mean, you'd be paying so much less. I mean, yes, in general, we pay less than American prices, but I would say it's a lot of the restaurants we go to are just slightly below restaurant pricing. So,
well, you haven't been to the U.S. in a while.
That is true.
Yeah.
So you would be shocked.
We've flown back numerous times, but not long enough to see those prices.
Yeah,
so.
I'll tell you. I'm not stoked about it because, like I said, we got some traveling to do, and yes, it's business, but it's still, you don't want to, you want to stay as liquid as possible, right? And more expense throughout the year, even as write-offs, doesn't keep you as liquid as you want. So every gallon of gas for 6 times as much cuts into that, and that's ridiculous. Nobody loves that.
Yeah.
Right.
So in those terms, like Nicaragua is way cheaper. I mean, the gas here is insanely cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Food at the market is cheaper. I guess rent and stuff now isn't really, I guess it's cheaper in terms of, compared to American prices, but rent and housing prices in general here have skyrocketed because of COVID. So.
Yeah, same as the US. But again, if you came here and you're like, I want to live on a $150 budget for the month, so as a single guy, you could do that, rent included. Like, that is possible. You'd be in a one-room studio, you'd be buying at the local market and all that stuff, but it's absolutely possible here. I can't think of one American city where that'd be possible without being in total slum.
You ever been to Detroit?
I was going to say, you're not going anywhere outside of like it.
Yeah, she's from Detroit.
Well, there you go.
So did you buy your place or do you own it? Because you live in a very, I've seen pictures that you post on Instagram.
Hold on. Did you buy your place or do you own it? What type of
No, rent. Did I say I meant rent?
No, we rent our place. Yeah, we do own property here though as well. So, but
Cool.
with the intention that we were going to build on it. But we
cool.
absolutely enjoy where we live. It's nice and secluded. It's in the jungle, away from the town. So we really have no intentions of moving. We just we love the area. We love the house. So yeah.
Fully self-sustaining farm where we live. So even if the world's melting down around us, we have everything we need here, which is pretty awesome.
All I hear is bug out location in case the world goes to hell.
The land we live on is very much that, and I think that's why we are so drawn to it, because like if anything were to go down, it would be so easy to just still survive and do what we need to do.
I mean, there's a reason we have a bell tower here. So, wink,
we
wink.
do have a bell tower on our house.
that is gangster right there.
Yeah, our house is like a little castle. We love it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But there's benefits to renting here versus buying in a lot of ways as quote unquote tourists or whatever. So purchasing land though is definitely a way to go, especially for residency and things like that. So there's a lot of things to weigh back and forth in a move like this. But believe it or not, overall, it went pretty quick and easy for us. So.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep in mind too, like, there's no such thing as loans here. So everything is paid in full, whether it's a house or a vehicle. Yeah, you don't get home loans, you don't get vehicle loans. Everything is just hand over that cash. So we've had to do that with just about everything that we've purchased. So you have to be prepared for expenses like that. But if you're smart with your money, then you actually do save money in the end. So because you're not paying interest, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now,
is there a place for my submarine down there?
Well, I mean, you could definitely try to get it into the port here. We have an ocean view, so all you got to do is pop up your flag when you arrive, and we'll see you. But
back in the early 1900s or late 1800s, though, it didn't fare so well for a gentleman that tried to take over this area. So just keep that in mind. There's an old fort that is pretty worn down up here.
It's on the mountain across from us down by the water. So
hell yeah.
Okay, quick question. What is the firearms laws like down there?
Firearms are fully restricted, not for civilian use, essentially. Which is obviously very different than the United States. Can you get them? Are there ways to get them even legally? Yes. If you own a business, you can work through that paperwork and the time to do that, which would make sense why we do own businesses here and other things. That's on the agenda at some point. But keep in mind, from the government side of things, I mean, they're in full control. It's a lot different than the United States. The difference is there's not any violence here, and there's no real call for resistance because everybody kind of knows their role, if that makes sense.
It's very peaceful here. It's just peaceful, and everyone is wonderful, and you don't see anything. Like, you don't see any violence in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's so crazy because as Americans, we've been kind of taught through media that we have to see things a certain way. It's kind of like mind control without getting too deep into things. And just not, I had to be careful with my words, so we don't normally talk like this. But it's not like that here. It's just so peaceful. You don't see violence on the news. You don't see violence in person. You don't see anything. Like, people are just so happy here. No matter what you do, where you go, people are just happy and they're willing to help because it's a sense of community. Like, you have to have community here, because if you don't have community, you will lose your job.
Yeah, you'll have nothing because it's a poor country, and you have to, you got to take care of the local mechanic. Otherwise, guess what, guys? You don't have a local mechanic. If you don't take care of the local chef, you don't have a local chef at your establishment anymore. So that's
same with
what
the person
about.
Who's raising the pigs or the cows or whatever, or vice versa. If they do something that's not necessarily favorable, well, the community is going to get rid of him too. So they don't want anything to do with any kind of opposition or violence or anything. It's so peaceful and everyone is so kind here. So we really have no complaints whatsoever.
Just don't mess up because there's a lot of jungle.
So I guess, and I got two questions, and among the dozens of other I got escrowed. I guess you don't run to the local public supermarket and buy a steak? Is there...
You can run there if you want. We wouldn't recommend it.
And I wouldn't call it a supermarket. And it is nothing like what Americans see as a supermarket. What we have here is called the Pally. And it's essentially just a small little building with 4 or 5 aisles in it, and it's just your necessities. So living a simple life is truly living a simple life here, because you don't have 5,000 different choices for every single item in the grocery store. It's like, oh, I need ketchup. Here's ketchup.
Yeah. Here's your one choice of ketchup, maybe 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
so
go ahead.
So the same thing with steaks. It's you have to picture everything kind of scaled down. So there's a local butcher who has phenomenal steaks, and you're getting the meat local. It's all been free range, everything
raised in the backyard.
Yeah. So I mean, and you're helping that family buying directly from this local market. So that's how everything works here is, your vegetables and your fruits are from a local market, your meat's from another local market that just does meat. There's a lady that makes cheese, a lady that does tortillas, so in a sense, you can literally go to all these different markets and help each family out by buying from each of these people, which is how we have to grocery shop. So grocery shopping here is once every 3 days, roughly, depending on how long our fruits and veggies last for, which is not long.
Yeah, so it's a different ballgame.
You have electric air conditioning, refrigerator.
No air.
Nope.
No air.
Wow.
We're on the top of a mountain, so it's a little cooler here. No air conditioning really needed. The time it really sucks is the dry season, which is last part of March, all of April, and part of May. And temps are Midwestern summer temps, but so it's hot, but with uber humidity, kind of I guess New Orleans type humidity. So that's what makes it
during those months.
Yeah, makes it pretty gross. But we're okay because on the mountain, of course, a few degrees cooler. Plus, hook up a couple fans around you. We work outside, we're sitting right where we work. I'm sure you guys have seen photos of us on social media. We're working outside, so you just flip a fan on and you're good.
Yeah, and we jump in our pool all the time. We have a bar in our pool, so we'll sit at the bar and just plug in everything and work from there and just stay in the water.
Yeah.
And through the year, the temps kind of stay the same within 5 to 7 degrees. It's the humidity that makes it so bad during the dry season, the hottest months. But yeah, I mean, we don't have AC. We have electricity. AC is really not common here at all because, I mean, it will make your electricity bill just astronomical. You take out that AC and you're paying next to nothing for electricity. But our stove is ran by a propane tank that's underneath our cupboard.
Yep.
So we don't have hot water in our kitchen. So dishes are washed with cold water, and they don't have regular dish soap here. We have this paste, which is actually awesome. And I don't know why America has not adopted this soap because it is, I don't know, it's just amazing.
I blame Democrats.
What's that?
I blame Democrats.
Right. There you go. There you go.
Now on the Dissident cigar side, now you guys, you have a wide variety of options. Now, do you guys kind of go through the typical, you offer a Connecticut, a Habano, a couple medium to full body, then your full bodied sticks? What is your product line?
I have no idea what you're saying.
They're mostly
That's why I brought them.
They're mostly medium to full bodied. We have the soapbox, which is probably I would say the mildest of the cigars,
which is what she is smoking. The Rant is also, it's a Connecticut, and it's pretty mild too. And very popular, currently sold out.
Yeah, this one's actually more of a Habano.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's something I'd be into.
Can you explain to me what that means?
Well, I'm gonna let them say it. Yeah, they can explain it. They'd do better
Like a
than me.
Connecticut and a
Yeah,
Cabano.
so typically
We'll go high level.
Yeah, we'll keep it simple. So you have your Connecticut, your Habano, and then your Maduro. So Connecticut shade is the lightest of the cigars typically. Like if you can look at I don't have a Connecticut in front of me, but I can show you the Habano.
I got some.
But
I came prepared for this. So this would be a Connecticut
the color
shade.
difference in these two.
Yeah.
So this is the Habano. This is a Maduro. Typically, if you have a Maduro, this one's going to kick your ass, especially if you've never smoked a cigar before. This will be your strongest typically. This will be your medium to full body. And then the Connecticut is typically where you want to start if you've never been a cigar smoker before. So you can get a good gauge based off of the wrapper, the outside portion of the tobacco, but that's not always accurate. But for a decent reference, you want to stay on the lighter end. You go towards the lighter colored tobacco.
And thumbs up to Nick Torres who just posted up. He needs to fill his humidor. Thank you. And we appreciate that. To that end, to go along with everything she's saying for the uninitiated in cigars, other ways to look at it that may be a little more palatable that you are aware of is like, think about like the way I look at it is in the morning with my coffee, I have Connecticut midday lunch. Usually I go something a little stronger. That's a Habano. In the evening, I finish off with a little bit of whiskey and something a little stronger like a Maduro. And that said, generally, if you go into a cigar lounge and you're like, I don't know what to get, tell me where to go. They may ask, how do you drink your beer or how do you like your coffee? If you're like, I add cream and sugar, I like my coffee light and sweet, they're going to steer you more toward a lighter, probably Connecticut type cigar. If you're like, I love Guinness and the heaviest beer ever, they're probably going to start steering you toward a little heavier, medium to heavier cigar. So that kind of gives you an idea. And blending cigars, much like blending coffees or whiskeys. I can't speak at all toward beer because I'm just not sure. But, when blending coffee, it's a matter of taking, this from this region, this from this region, and this from this region to give you a certain kind of flavor profile. And that's essentially the way cigars work. You take this from this region or this from that region, or all from the same region for that matter, if you want that style. And you put it together. And then you have all kinds of crazy things like where it was placed on the plant, where it was grown in the sun, in the shade, when it was picked as part of the growing season. All that stuff matters to give you a specific cigar. That's why there's so many cigars and so many good cigars on the market. Ours, what makes them great, in my opinion, is not only... I could talk all day about the leaves and all that stuff. But aside from that, you got to have a quality product. But how it's rolled, the people that put it together, the love they put into it at the factory, all of that matters too. Because for those who've smoked a crappy cigar, if you have a crappy cigar, it's a shitty experience. You never want to do it again. A good quality rolled, hand-rolled cigar, sometimes you'll pay for it. And trust me, you can have shitty $25 cigars and you can have amazing $5, $6 cigars. And we fall somewhere in between there. Like our limited runs can get upwards of the $15 range, depending on where you're buying. Our smaller petite Coronas and stuff like that, you can spend $6 to $8, depending on where you're at in the country. So there's your kind of quick and dirty about cigars.
Now, since you're in Nicaragua, I'm guessing Dissident is mostly Nicaraguan puros, where your binder, filler, and wrapper are all Nicaraguan, or do you go through like Dominican or Honduran fillers and binders?
There's Ecuadorian.
Sumatra, Brazilian, all of it. Like we have access to everything.
Oh, that's
actually, she will be doing most of the blending because she really has a taste for it. I'm just the guy. I'm like the Flavor Flav of Dissident. Okay?
You're like the hype man.
I'm here to
get that big clock.
How great she is, and she gets out there and kicks ass after she makes this badass cigar. And
This sniffer does not work.
It
So
doesn't.
like, I'll be the first one to be like, yeah, this one tastes like a leather boot, and I get hints of wormwood or something in this one. I'm like, it's cocoa. There's cocoa and pepper in this.
That's all. When I first started smoking cigars, all I tasted, depending if it was a Connecticut or a Habano, it was a little bit of creaminess. Depending on the maker, it would be a little kind of like a sweetness. And then if it was anything other than a Connecticut, cocoa. That's all I tasted. And then I broadened my palate a little bit, and and that's when you pick up the cedar, you pick up like a leathery, almost like a musty farm roll. It all depends. Like how I look at it is, okay, I follow the maker. I'll follow different brands. I'm more of a boutique type of guy myself, just because there's great blends all around. But when you get into the boutique stuff, I feel like you can get some great flavor profiles, and for somewhat affordable prices. There's brands out there
too, because it's boutique.
Yeah, exactly. And there's brands out there that a lot of them are probably coming out of Esteli or something like that, where you can kind of say, okay, if your binder or fill is coming out of Esteli, this is your flavor profile. Now, I could be talking out my ass, but just for me, smoking cigars for a while, I do a little bit of cigar review on a B channel that I don't really post that much now, but I think like when it comes to cigars, there's a lot of crossover, especially with gun guys. I got into it because I suffer from anxiety and stuff like that, and having a cigar can really really level me out. I don't know how did you guys get into like actually like being like these cigar aficionados? Because how I found you guys was Josh's Instagram, where his like motivational posts are like, that's it gets me through the day, and it's like, all right, I'm looking at, and I followed the your progression, and hence how I found out about Black Label.
I'll start with kind of how I got into cigars, because it involves firearms, and you guys probably all are aware of Adrian from Cigars and Guns.
Yes.
If you're not, follow him on Instagram. And real quick, before I get into that, Jonathan here, James asked, are Cuban cigars really that strong? Cuban cigars are just Cuban cigars.
There's so many different varieties. I mean, it's like saying, are all Black Label strong? Or all
are all pepperoni pizza the same? No, it's not. And that's with Cuban cigars.
We're not particularly a fan of Cuban cigars.
It's
like
just when you put in an embargo, everything becomes more exciting, right? So that's why Cubans are quote Cubans. But anyway, back to the when it comes to sorry, we don't bullshit too much. I hope
I love it.
No, it's okay. I love it.
But I started smoking cigars because of a guy named Adrian who runs Cigars and Guns. He's absolutely wonderful human being and a close friend of mine, like family to us, him and his wife, and who I always call my travel wife, who you guys probably know, Ryan Rep from Brownells, and he used to smoke cigars. So while we would travel, we would be in cigar shops all the time because he'd want to smoke cigars and work. So I'd go, but I wouldn't have cigars. And then Adrian told me, he's like, put a cigar in your hand and it'll change everything about your cigar experience in a lounge, and it'll change your life. And I was like, that's bullshit, but okay. And then I did have a cigar, and now we live in fucking Nicaragua, and own our own cigar.
Everything's
brand.
110% with us.
So it'll change your life is the truth. But I learned more in my first 6 months smoking cigars because of those two and the people that also smoke cigars in lounges. Because if you're stuck for 60 to 90 minutes having a cigar with somebody, you're going to learn. Even if you're a plumber and they're a pilot for Delta Airlines, you're going to find common ground because you already did. It's in your hand and you're smoking it. So you're going to communicate, and then you start to realize a lot of things. And in that 6 months, I learned more about business than I did in my first 20 years in business. And that's no slight against Brownells or any other business I've been a part of. That's just the reality of spending time with people that are smarter and more experienced than you. Be the dumbest person in the room, right? And that's kind of what happened to me when I started smoking cigars. And I caught to it. I'd walk in there and I'd be like, I don't know shit about cigars. And, I'm just some, tattooed guy who's failed a lot of businesses. I want to know more. Tell me. And they would. But Cynthia, I'll turn it over to you as far as your cigar experience.
Yeah, mine is actually more like you. It was a stress reliever for me. So I was smoking cigars before I met Josh, and I didn't.
Cool as fuck.
I didn't want to smoke cigarettes, but I knew that smoking cigarettes calms you down. And I just didn't want to do that. And I've always had there's like this mystery, like this mysterious thing behind cigars, and they were just always intriguing. And every time I was in a room with someone, they just smelled so good to me. And so I just started picking up cigars myself. And I realized, especially as a single mom at that time, that was my time to just chill and relax and sit outside. And you're forced to breathe slow. I mean, and that is typically proven that when you breathe slow, your brain, does certain things and you calm down. And so that was my therapy. It still is my therapy. To me, cigars are more of a therapy than going into a therapist's office. I mean, because you can think, you can reflect, you can truly think about your day or your life or what you're going through and process things and just take time for you. And it's so important to have that time for you or around the people that you love. In fact, I mean, that's how Josh and I bond a lot of the times, because we're, during the day we're sitting there working and whatever else, but then we can come together through a cigar and just be like, and
Cinn, I have a similar experience. Like I do, IT work during the day. I'm going back to when I started smoking cigars in New York, and I would do wedding photography on the weekend. So I was like there were months I would go where I'd be working 7 days a week. And, maybe to a lot of people, you're like, boo-hoo, and because you are doing that also. But at the end of the road I lived on in Islip, New York, was the Bayard Cutting Arboretum, and they had the big Adirondack chairs and overlooking, it's 500 acres, and the Connecticut River's there. And I'd go there, and I'd light up a cigar, and I'd smoke. And, like you said, for 90 minutes, there's nothing else you can do. And I just fantasized about owning the place, sitting back, relaxing. What would it be like if I did own this place? And I was one of the people, that was my private home. And it's amazing that these fantastic places, almost nobody goes to.
Right.
They're home playing Xbox or something. So
it's insane. Yes, it's insane for sure. Yeah, and to kind of, I don't remember which one of you mentioned the crossover between cigars and firearms. But to kind of circle back to that, cigars were only cool to me because cigars weren't cool. As an adult, to me, they weren't cool, right? But when I think back as a kid, cigars were only cool in Commando, when Arnold Schwarzenegger's got his stogie, or gosh, what other films? Oh, or the A-Team, because
Hannibal Smith.
Hannibal always had his stogie.
Yeah.
And that made it cool. But I never felt like I was that kind of cool. But there's still kind of nothing cooler than a cigar in your mouth and full auto. So
I missed that opportunity at range day. I looked at Roy Hill and I was just like, I'm just saying, man, we should just do this. It'd be a great little video. But I find that the camaraderie we have, especially in the gun industry, if we're sitting down, I've had the opportunity to just hang back and kick it with some cool people, and just you get to know certain people, and it's like I look forward to events where it's like, oh sweet, I can we can hang out, have a cigar, relax, catch up and stuff like that. So I live in Massachusetts, so there's not that many cigar lounges. I travel to Rhode Island, New Hampshire, just to get that ambiance of, okay, I'm getting away for a couple hours, and I'll pick up, depending on the blend and stuff like that. And it's very therapeutic. Even when I edit videos, I'm usually smoking a cigar. One thing I am jealous of Cinn, that she likes to smoke, because my wife is not a fan of the cigar. So I got
you are not.
I tease Joe. He hot boxes. He'll smoke it in his car, and I'm like, and don't get me wrong. I enjoy smoking a cigar. I don't like the smell the next day, like in my clothes or.
I love it. I don't care.
I don't smoke in my house or in my car, but I like smoking out by the pool. And so what do you guys drink? Like, I like sipping tequila.
That's something like a high schooler would say. I like smoking out behind the pool.
I own the pool, so it's my pool.
I was wondering when you were going to chime in, John.
Yeah. I've been trying to get John to smoke cigars for a while, and he just doesn't want to take me up on it.
He's afraid it stunts his growth. I said that ship sailed.
I'm only 5'6", bro.
Just jump into that unknown. It's the fear of the unknown. That's what I'll say.
Nah, I have no fear of the unknown.
So, what do you guys drink?
Another expensive hobby.
And you're talking about doing your own liquor, also, right?
Yeah. So in the States, it was typical for us to have like usually Jack and Coke, or Clase Azul. Like that was our favorite tequila.
Yeah,
love Clase Azul.
Sip on that.
But
I'm a Di Serrano guy.
Yeah.
I don't drink either.
To find, like, we can't, like, I have never seen Clase Azul here. Jack you can find, but it's way more expensive. So we've switched it over to Flor de Caña, which is the Nicaraguan. That's what they're known for here in Nicaragua, is their rum. And so we'll do that with Coke because it's similar, and it makes the cigars still taste amazing. It complements it really well. So that's what we typically do now. And as far as the whiskey goes, we're not going to say much because then it's putting the cat out of the bag, right? Yeah. But we are working on some things to do with whiskey and cigars. So I'll say that much. And we're really excited about that because we are really big whiskey fans.
Goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And like if I had my druthers, I would sip Macallan 18 all day with my cigars, but I'm not going to drop $400 a bottle, give or take.
Oh, yikes.
And here you can actually get the duty-free stuff you can't get anywhere else from Macallan. So they have something called Quest and also a Lumina bottle that I'll get. And those are about $100 a bottle, last a while if it's just me, if we don't have any visitors. But
I am a whiskey, like I'm a basic person when whiskey. I'll go JMO, Southern Comfort, and like if I'm feeling frisky, Gentleman's Jack. But that's like my whiskey. I just got bought.
We get it. Yeah. There's no wrong whiskey in my opinion. There's some shit whiskey, but there's no
some
wrong
shit whiskey.
But honestly, like with that, like the best thing as far as tasting is Coke. If we learned that from James Brown at Black Label Trading, and he's the master blender at Oveja Negra as well, who we work with on our blends. Of course, we come up with them. She comes up with them. We test through them, but he gets them ready for us with the factory and all that stuff. So we work hand in hand with James, and he said, if you truly want to taste the leaf you're smoking, Coke, because it kind of cleanses the palate and takes care of things. So I drink a lot of Coke with mine. But in the morning, I love a good light cigar, and I like my coffee sweet, so I'll do it with coffee. So coffee, whiskey, and Coke are the main things we stick with.
And something like a lot of people don't realize is when you're coming up with a blend from scratch, you're smoking roughly like 20 plus different tobaccos to come up with the perfect blend that you have in your head. And when you're smoking that many different leaves, like you can't, like you'll still keep the flavors on your mouth from like the previous leaf. So you have to have something that cuts that. And that's what Coke does. So it kind of like go to like a perfume place and they make you smell the coffee beans to kind of clear your senses. Coke does the same thing. So yeah, if you ever want to truly experience a cigar, drink some Coke and water first and then try the cigar out.
I've never done that.
Yep. Yeah. I sometimes take dark chocolate.
What's that?
I sometimes take a cube of dark chocolate. I'll let that kind of dissolve on my tongue to kind of get it going, and then have some water and do that. But most of the time when I'm smoking, it's iced coffee, or occasionally I'll get like a nice black dark roast, and it does it pairs very well.
So how do we get any of your products in Florida or the United States, or how does that work?
They're actually, our cigars are already in a lot of lounges. I just counted today, and so far we're in 118 lounges throughout the country, throughout the U.S., I should say.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So Texas is one of our top states. Plenty of places in Texas, of course, it's a huge state. We have a few in Florida. Pennsylvania is another big state that has a lot of lounges with our cigars. We know plenty of lounges too that ship. So if right now, like your state doesn't have it, we can hook you up with one of the lounges that are shipping right now. Cool. So there's plenty of ways to get these cigars. And we just placed a brand new order that's currently being made at the factory right now to pump out all those sticks for the next 6 months. So
Yep.
Yeah.
So how would I find out? Like, I'm in Florida. How would I find out who's got Dissident cigars?
You can go to Oveja Negra, OvejaNegraCigars.com. And there's a locator, a lounge locator on there. And you can just look, and it'll have, it's anybody that carries anything from Oveja Negra. So they might have Emilio, but no black label or no Dissident.
To actually, once you find a lounge closest to you, you actually have to call them to see which Oveja Negra cigars they carry. And it could be, because I mean, it could be one of the, there's only 4 brands that come out of Oveja Negra, and we're one of those brands. So we're very lucky that our cigars are made in such a unique way in a factory that only has 4 brands coming out of it. So our cigars are truly unique. It allows us the opportunity to come up with really unique cigars. But with that said, we haven't fine-tuned it yet to where you can use that locator to just find Dissident. We're working on that. And the next best route would be just to contact us in some way, and we can tell you based off of our own personal list where the closest is. Or again, we can tell you which lounges to call that do shipping.
Yeah,
cool.
And for that matter, if a lounge close to you doesn't have it, chances are good that they already deal with our rep in one way or another. So you can just tell them, look, carry this, I will buy it, and they'll usually try a few boxes to get in the door. And if they move, they'll keep ordering, and we'll keep shipping them. So
yeah, this brand's actually been around for a number of years. So we've just taken it over and kind of bringing it to life. So we're very blessed in that area to be walking into an already established cigar brand, and we're just taking it over and making it ours. So.
Yeah, taking it to the next level. We have some cool stuff for the next year. So get excited for some really unique new blends that are going to be limited run. One for sure in 2022, if we can pull it off, there'll be 2, which we're already working on. The artwork's badass. We just can't show you any of it. And the blend is amazing. We've already tested through that for almost a year because this has been in the works for a while. Not a year, to be clear, but we blended our own stuff at the factory a year ago, just to see, because we had some ideas and then this came up and it just meshed. So
I got a question for you. Will you guys produce a special cigar for the birth of Shooting Gallery New England's kids?
Oh man, that's funny.
You're an ass. No. Let's just cut this off right here.
All right,
not having kids.
Since we're going on Shooting Gallery New England jokes, Joe just said, I like to put dark chocolate in my mouth, and Tony Simon says dark chocolate's my nickname.
I saw that.
We all were hanging out with Tony a couple weekends ago, so.
Nice.
Yeah, so they all think it's a funny joke that I'm having a child, and I'm still afraid that no, I'm not having a child.
Your wife is, sorry.
Twins.
No, I'm not having twins. We're not having twins, and they're in the process of making T-shirts and all this stuff, and I guess I'm the butt of all jokes.
Hey, it happens. It happens.
Hey, I don't care.
We
So-
get asked all the time if we can do blends, and right now, unfortunately, the answer is we can't do blends for specific people yet. Anyway, so you're in the clear.
You know what? This is why I love you guys, because you're taking all this this massive joke, and you're pretty much just putting a kaput to it. So you're always going to be in my good graces for that reason alone.
Perfect.
We got your back.
Yeah, so we only got about 10 minutes left, but I did want to touch on the motivational speaking stuff
Sure.
that you guys do.
Yep. I love it.
How'd you get into motivational speaking?
Well, I guess I'll start with me. I just saw a speaker when I was a kid and thought that I couldn't connect, and thought, someday I want to do that. And years later, I ended up writing books and putting those out. And somehow, if you write a book, you get credibility, right? It's the dumbest shit ever. And then colleges started asking me to speak, and I was in the tattoo world too. So I was doing big seminars for 600-700 people at what are they, health inspector
Like health
seminar,
departments.
to teach them what to look for when inspecting tattoo studios and stuff like that. And that got me in front of audiences. And then when one of my books super took off in 2013, that started putting me in corporations and then doing school tours and all kinds of things like that. Her path is a little different because she is an absolute survivor and pillar of strength when it comes to living life. And she's been through some shit and lived some hard stuff. And she started out helping kids and women and being an advocate, and took off from there. But I'll let you.
Yeah. So I came from like the world of like helping sexual assault victims, domestic violence victims. I ran a boys' home for 4 years, who were all kids that were abused or they were perpetrators themselves, which technically in the end they were also victims, and it's most of the time why they did it. But anyway, worked in that field a lot, helped them through that, and then switched over to the elderly community actually, and worked that for a couple of years. And then once Josh and I met, we just decided to kind of join forces and then to start doing the motivational speaking together, because we both had backgrounds that we could talk about to help others. So we just kind of joined together for a bit, and then
Like Voltron.
What's
That's
that?
Like Voltron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so weird how the world works, because we were both doing our own thing with similar stuff, and then came together, and I guess it was like a powerhouse, and then did that for a while, and then moved here. So we've kind of put it on the back burner. We don't particularly say we're motivational speakers anymore. I know that if a particular opportunity arose, we'd probably do it.
Maybe
do it.
Maybe.
But right now we're just focusing on cigars and.
Yeah, because she'll be traveling all over the United States all through 2022, doing events and stuff like that. So she'll be one-on-one, and I'll be here holding down the fort, taking care of business, taking care of the back end, taking care of all my BOP agents, making sure they're kicking ass and feeling good about it. So
You know it.
Yeah.
Now let's before we close out, I think we should kind of address it whenever we get a BOP guy on here. What started the BOP? Like, I know a lot of people have talked about it. Me personally, I think it's one of the greatest ideas ever, and I'm proud field agent. But what started the whole BOP, Bureau of Propaganda?
The Bureau of Propaganda was an idea born in Ryan Rep's office between Roy Hill, Possum Fatback, myself, and Ryan, and handling all social media for Brownells, and they handling all the PR. We always would see people bickering about stupid shit, and we need to do this. We need each other, right, in order to kind of prevail and persevere and keep 2A alive, and that's really important. And we were like, how do we do that? How do we create kind of a brotherhood where if you're walking through an airport and you don't know somebody, but if you see that patch on somebody, you're one of my kind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're really picky. We don't just throw them out to people. We got to get to know them. We got to know that you're out there spreading positive 2A. You're not bitching at people. You're not being an asshole. And then we'll bring you in.
I'm
That's
out.
why it's invite only. Anyway, so,
We're gonna gloss over that.
So, yeah, long story short, the Bureau was just about creating a brotherhood of people promoting 2A positivity. And that's really like, because people get down on us because we use propaganda, quote, quote, because, you know, it's such a negative term. But we're saying it in a way that it's like, it's real. Like this you can call it propaganda, but it's real. Come find out. Come hang with any group of Bureau of Propaganda agents in any state, with or without any Brownells member present, and it's going to be a good time with good people, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. I think it's one of the more positive things you get in the gun community, and you know, I've been nothing but happy. So.
Onesie bros.
Hey, listen, that onesie is comfy AF. I
didn't get mine yet.
Well,
did you get the underwear?
We're special. That's why.
Like last year, yeah.
Special.
If you didn't get yours, some people are still getting them. But shoot me an email, and I'll make it. You need to have it. And there's way cooler stuff coming in 2022 that's already done. You wait, it's awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, that's cool. Definitely.
Well, I'm sure I'm getting mine because Joe got his. So
I'm special. That's why. That's me and Walter Keller are special. And,
Yeah, Walter wore his onesie on the podcast.
Yeah,
I think I wore mine too. No, I wore mine on the entire show, and then I was like, the guys at work were like, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "You gotta be in the know." And they're like, "Are you gonna wear that to work?" I almost did, but I didn't want to get like welding lighter flame from on it. It would be such a
Good to know Hank and Lola got theirs. I haven't seen any photos, but I don't know if I want it.
All I'm saying is I'm just happy I got mine before Hank. You know.
Yeah, these guys rock the flags, the shirts, everything else. The phone calls.
Yeah,
So these guys rock the flags, the shirts, the patches.
I wear this shirt to work all the time, and everyone's always asking me, and I just, it's always a good conversation starter. And then I just say, it's a conversation starter because, again, people see the word propaganda, but technically, propaganda is you're spreading a message. It's in a positive light for the Second Amendment, and everyone should be involved.
and parlaying that into dissident comes across as a negative word too, right? So,
I love it though. I love it.
Force, resisting, and we're for that, but we look at it much more as like
positive.
Yeah, going against negativity and life's bullshit. Be a dissident. Don't worry about the American dream. Go live your life your way. Forget all the other bullshit and revolt against all that.
Yeah.
And that's what that's about. So, everything that, like, I love the darker kind of side of things and twisting it a bit to make it good. And this was another opportunity to do that, just like the Bureau was.
Yeah, hell yeah. Now, Cinn, now you're going all over in 2022. Do you go anywhere into the New England area or no?
Yeah. I'm going to be actually all over the United States. So I'll cover what we call as territories. So I'll be covering each one of our territories, which includes all of New England. New England, if there is a lounge that has our cigars or has the potential of having our cigars or wants me there to start the cigar line. So you'll have to watch and see, because I will post about where I'll be in New England. I know there's a lounge in Massachusetts for one. I know there's some, I think there's some in New Hampshire, lots in Connecticut, surprisingly.
Yeah, a lot in Connecticut.
Yeah, so I'll be in that area, and I'm sure there's going to be one that'll be close enough to you. So just keep an eye out, because I'm going to try to do it to where it's New England and then another close territory around the same time, so I can kind of knock everything out, in one trip. So
where would we find out? Is that going to be on your Instagram on Dissident Cigar?
Yep, it'll be on Dissident Cigars. Dissident Cigars _official is the Instagram. And you can go to my personal Instagram as well, Cinn Coburn, CYNN Coburn. So it'll be on both of those. We don't have a Facebook yet for Dissident Cigars, but you can more than likely find it under the Black Label group that they have
the
going
Black
on,
Label
because
Trading Company group.
even though it's a Black Label group, it kind of encompasses all of Oveja Negra, which we're a part of. So.
All right, that sounds good. Well, we've been on for an hour. Thank you so much for coming on and educating us on the art of smoking cigars and everything that goes into cigars. There's a lot more to it than what I thought.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I thought you just got a bunch of tobacco and wrapped it up in leaves and smoked it.
No.
Our pleasure, though. Thanks for having us, guys.
All right.
Really.
Oh yeah, got to have you back. I got like an hour's worth of more questions still.
Yeah, I wanted to concentrate on the cigars, but I want to concentrate on some of the other stuff more next time,
Sure.
just so we can get more of a backstory. But I know you guys just had the cigar stuff happen, so I wanted to cover that. Let's go around and tell everyone where people can find everyone. Oh, by the way, I am nominated for Voice of 2A on the Gundies. So if you go to the Gundies and you vote,
Vote daily.
vote
So I'll
daily.
see
You can vote up to 15 times for me a day. And you
Because
should.
John said if he wins, he's not going, but I'll go in his place and drive the tanks for him.
There you go.
Perfect.
All right, so no, there's no chance for us. I mean, looking at some of the other people like Steven Crowder and stuff.
Yeah, Crowder. Wow.
It's you guys, Rich and Dark and stuff. Rather like saying, "Hey, you got to campaign for it." I was like, "Whatever." So I am, but I don't care, honestly. So Rich, where can people find you?
On John Crump's show, or any 2A podcast that exists, because I crash them all. So flyingrich.com, youtube.com/flyingrich, all of the other, let's see, video social media sites, I'm Flying Rich there, and on the grams, flyingrich_official.
Nice.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
Well, you can find me on Shooting Gallery NE on YouTube, all the other social media sites like Utreon, Gunstream, and all that. Instagram is Shooting Gallery New England. TikTok is Shooting Gallery NE. And for the B-side, Smoking Millennial for your cigar review needs. Also on Instagram, Smoking Millennial.
Nice.
All right, kicking it over to Dissident Cigars. Oh, by the way, shout out to CRS Firearms out there. I see you.
So as far as Dissident, you can find us on Instagram at DissidentCigars_official. Me personally, Cinn Coburn for Instagram, CYNNCOBURN. Same with Facebook. And for you?
And don't forget her website, sinister.com, CYNNISTER.com. JoshuaCoburn.com for me, which will get you to all the other socials, but Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that is under my name, Joshua Coburn. I guess TikTok's under your
Like
reality check.
Joshua.Coburn.
Joshua.Coburn.
Yeah.
Just Google some shit and you'll figure
That's awesome.
Pretty spicy pictures on the Google images.
Watch out. It's no OnlyFans, but it'll get you to where I need to go.
Don't do it at work.
NSW, right?
Yeah, NSFW.
Yeah.
Okay, you can find me at my OnlyFans.
Or crumpysubs.com.
Crumpy, what?
Crumpysubs.com. You haven't been to that website?
I don't want to go to the website. I have no idea why you found the website called crumpysubs.com, and I really don't want to know why. Yeah, just you guys know where to find me at. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure, and I am out of here. Wolverines.
And that's how John closes.
Yeah, that's how we
He
close.
leaves us awkwardly here for a few moments until he pushes the end button.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And I'm waiting.
Good. Get the
All right,
hell
I'll
out.
click end.